Hello and thanks for joining us. And we're starting with a windfall for LGBT rights in Kenya. People are turning out en masse to cinemas to watch the lesbian love story Rafiki that was previously banned in the country. To qualify as Kenya's entry for the Best Foreign Language Oscar, the film needs to have an official release at home. It's being shown in one cinema in Nairobi for a fixed period of 7 days during the daytime to people over the age of 18. Winori Kayu's movie premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in May, just after it had been banned for promoting homosexuality, which is a criminal offence in Kenya.
Hundreds of Kenyans wait in line to see Rafiki on the big screen. The film is being shown in theaters for the first time, after being banned in April by Kenya's Film and Classification Board for allegedly promoting lesbianism. A high court has temporarily suspended the ban for 7 days, making it eligible to be submitted to next year's Academy Awards in the category of Best Foreign Language Film.
And I think it shows progressiveness, or the fact that we're moving into the right direction. I do think it was unfortunate that such a movie that got such world recognition didn't get its chance to debut and have the audience in Kenya enjoy it.
All of us will identify because it's a human story. At the end of the day, it's about two people who care deeply about each other, and it's a forbidden love. It doesn't matter if it could have been a heterosexual story. It just happens to be that way inclined.
Rafiki, which means friend in Swahili, tells the love story of two young women whose families are on opposite ends of the political spectrum.
Lakini kilichonishangaza, kuna Wakenya ambao kidogo wanaishtumu serikali kwa sababu ya msimamo wao wa ndoa ya jinsia moja.
In Kenya, homosexual acts, such as same-sex intimacy, can be punishable by up to 14 years in prison. While the film was screened in just a handful of locations, its cast has hailed victory.
It's so wonderful. When we got the news, I was crying because I was so happy. And today, I'm here to watch it with the Kenyan crowd.
Rafiki already broke barriers earlier this year, when it became the first Kenyan film to premiere at France's Cannes Festival. For the director, the film is simply a love story.
It was really important for us to be able to tell a really tender, soft, innocent, kind of naive love story about these girls. And despite all the difficulties they go through in the film, I feel like there's such love and such tenderness between the two main characters. Then that's what we wanted to glorify, that's what we wanted to put forth, that's what we really wanted to celebrate, the idea of young love.
While it's only authorized to be shown in theaters for a week, LGBT rights groups see the screenings as an important step forward for Kenyan society.
You're just a typical Kenyan girl.
American artist Jeff Koons is in trouble again over copyright infringement. He's accused of copying a 1980s fashion ad by the French clothing brand Naf Naf. The company's creative director is seeking €300,000 in damages. Catherine Viette reports.
This is an ad from 1985 for French clothing brand Naf Naf. It features a woman lying in the snow being nuzzled by a pig with a barrel of rum around its neck. This is a sculpture by American artist Jeff Koons. It bears a striking resemblance to the ad. Frank Davidovici, who came up with the concept, has accused Koons of plagiarizing his work.
There's no discussion possible. When you see the two works side by side, it's the same thing. One is a print ad, the other is the same work in 3 dimensions.
Lawyers for Koons have dismissed the claims, defending artistic license.
There's his artistic freedom and the possibility that other works can be a source of inspiration, creating new works of art.
Jeff Koons is one of the world's richest artists. His works are widely collected, like this giant balloon dog sculpture, which sold for almost $60 million. He employs around 100 people who produce his artwork in a warehouse in the U.S. His critics say he's a symbol of industrial assembly line art. Koons is no stranger to controversy and has been accused of plagiarism before. In another case in Paris, Koons was found guilty of copying an image made by the late French photographer Jean-François Bourret.
Here we have a photo taken by my husband of 2 children back in 1970. And this is Jeff Koons' sculpture.
La sculpture de Koons.
The Koons sculpture is nearly identical to Jean-François Borret's photograph.
There on Koons' desk, a huge desk with documents his assistant had brought back. It wasn't even Koons who found it. And then one day Koons said, "That'll fit in with my vision. I'll take it." That's not inspiration, it's plagiarism.
In this latest case, the judges will now have to determine if the celebrated artist is also a plagiarist.
We're heading now to one of France's most prestigious film schools. La Fémis in Paris was once home to directors such as Alain Resnais, Louis Malle and Claire Denis. Our reporters have been to meet one of the school's rising stars, 24-year-old Baptiste Drapeau. His graduation film, The Man-Eater, is a black comedy inspired by the Coen brothers' film Fargo. Renaud Lefort and Robert Sutton-Maddox have more.
In the corridors of film school, Baptiste Drapeau has crafted his jewel of a black comedy, Mangeurs d'Hommes, or The Man-Eater.
Ah! Lenny! Dis-moi ça!
It follows Jeanne, an incorruptible police officer, dragged into the dark dealings between her superior and the petty crooks of the local mafia. It's all been done under the watchful eye of filmmaker Michel Hazanavicius, famed for his Oscar-winning film The Artist.
He's done so well. To create something without insane amounts of money, you have to be smart, resourceful and creative.
Alors, on fait comme on a dit, hein. Pas d'embrouille. On marche tous ensemble jusqu'au butin, et avant que j'ai appelé les enfants, vous vous barrez. Jeanne!
Cinema is a sport of little battles. It took months to agree, just on the haircut of the lead actress.
I want something a little feminine, so not too stern.
And he had to defend his creative choices from the film's more experienced actors.
If France already takes a shot, it spoils the idea that there are no more bullets left.
And even fight with Mother Nature during the shooting.
The first day of shooting, we got up in the morning and everything was green. It began to rain a little when we were setting up, and then the rain turned to snow. We wanted snow for opening shots, so the problem wasn't so much lack of snow, but that we had far too much.
He's a skilled animator and filmmaker at just 24, but he takes a critical look at French cinema today.
There's a widening gap between art house cinema, something naturalistic and realistic, and commercial mass audience movies. There used to be films that were in between. You still have filmmakers like Albert Dupontel and Michel Hazanavicius, whose work I admire, but they are becoming fewer and fewer.
With already 6 films to his name across very different genres, the future is looking bright for this graduate. His dream to follow in the footsteps of Steven Spielberg, who he believes bridges the divide between art house and popular cinema.
The 9-day extravaganza that is Paris Fashion Week is underway. Dior set the bar high with a spectacular show woven around a new modern dance piece by the choreographer Sharon Isle. Models brushed past writhing dancers in a performance created by the acclaimed Israeli artist in a fog of mist and falling paper petals. Designer Maria Grazia Chiuri, the first woman to lead the fabled French house, explained why she decided to blend contemporary dance with couture.
Mr. Dior, in the past, he did many dresses for the ballet. I was fascinated about this first dancer like La Duncan, but also Le Fuller, that they want something that is very light, where they can move. I try to make the Dior dress without the corset, without the lining, very light, that give this idea of lightness and freedom too.
And we'll leave you with the weird and wonderful Gucci show that was the hot ticket at Paris Fashion Week. It featured a parrot, eerie videos, frills and sequins. The venue was a disused theatre with a shady past as a hedonistic 1980s nightclub. Halfway through, a guest stood up and began to sing. It was the British singer and actress Jane Birkin who serenaded the crowd with her song Baby Alone in Babylon. We'll leave you with that. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Sous des flots de Pontiac, de Cadillac, de Bentley, de Rolls Royce, de pique dans la nuit métallique. Babylone, Babylone noyée sous des flots de musique.
Tawfiq, how do you say Cumpleaños Feliz in Arabic?
Eid Miladon Saïd. Depuis un an, vous êtes fidèle à France 24 en espagnol et ça va durer encore très longtemps. Alors merci à tous.
A year of France 24 in Espanol. Thanks to all those viewers who've joined us over the last 12 months, and a very happy birthday.
Ten years after Iceland's economy collapsed, the country is turning the tide. With full employment and high growth, Iceland has little to envy from its European neighbours. After much soul-searching, the country has transformed itself. Today, travellers from the world around are flocking to this small island that sits halfway between Europe and America.
We revisit Iceland and its gender balance changes here on France 24.